Coming up, we continue to remember the coal miner's daughter, Loretta Lynn.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Music fans around the world are taking time to remember the life and light that was Loretta Lynn, saying she gave a stage to many women who never felt they had a voice and to a region that was often overlooked. And she often did that by taking the stage here in the place she called home. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more from some of the venues that borrowed her voice.
The world was her stage, but she always took time to come back to Eastern Kentucky.
Loretta Lynn's career blossomed into something that was larger than life.
She is an icon, a legend. I would call her the queen of music in Eastern Kentucky.
But the Van Leer Rose never forgot where she was rooted.
That's one of the reasons, too, that a lot of people look up to her, very down to earth, and just made it big, and she didn't forget her raisins.
The country music icon made it a point to use her platform to promote Eastern Kentucky and use its platforms to celebrate music with her hometown fans.
She drove here to walk around herself, and once she saw it here, she told her manager to call the Mountain Arts Center and book the show.
Performing all around the world, but always keeping her mountain upbringing in the lineup.
That's one of their idols, and they know that Loretta played here, and so the influence is immeasurable.
A career full of sharing stories from back home, which saw its final applause when the legend died Tuesday.
It just hits. It hits home.
Leaving a legacy of inspiring other Appalachian artists to raise their fullest voice and dream with their fullest hearts.
This is going to impact, you know, of course, not only Eastern Kentucky, but the country music scene in general. A lot of aspiring artists, and then artists have made it big, have looked up to Loretta.
Celebrating home wherever she went.
Her presence will always be known here, for sure.
Cementing herself at home long after she's gone. Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Folks say the news of her death is still something that's a bit hard to swallow, but Loretta's dedication to home and her people is one of the things that will forever keep her music playing in the mountains. Reactions from stars around the country and worldwide continue to come in following Loretta's death yesterday at the age of 90. Country music singer and songwriter Bill Anderson says Loretta was one of a kind and that she would stand up to anyone.
She would stand up to anybody. Tenacity, I think, is a great word because what she had to overcome just growing up and in her normal life. And then she had to kind of fight her way into the music business in the beginning. It was a happy day in heaven for Conway Twitty. I'm sure he saw Loretta coming in. And he said, "Hello, darling. It's been a long time."
During her 60-year career, Lynn had more than 50 top 10 hits and won just about every music award you can think of. The day after her death, she was still the topic of conversation outside the Ryman Auditorium. Of course, it's the music she'll be remembered for, but motorcycles and fundraisers were another big part of her life. Terry Bulger tells us that part of the story from Nashville.
If the Ryman Auditorium is country music's palace, Loretta Lynn was its queen. A day after the singer's death, the talk outside the Mother Church pointed to her.
I just liked basically the music, the words, because they tell a story. Country music tells a story.
Lillian Beam's English accent shows Loretta's influence went far beyond her Kentucky roots. Just like her life was more than music. It was motorcycles, more than 40 years at her West Tennessee Hurricane Mills Dude Ranch, where riders came here to race and camp. Those campers wakened every morning at 7 a.m. with a loud version of Loretta's Coal Miner's Daughter. Loretta's music was so much more than just zippity-doo. That seemed to be one of the biggest reasons people down here today liked her. As a woman, she never sang scared, just honest.
So when she was angry at her husband, she would say so, and she'd write a song, or she'd get mad at somebody else or liked something, she would write about that, and it just came out that way.
Like when other women made a move on her man. And she summed it up in song by singing,
"You're not good enough to take my man."
groundbreaking then, all over country radio today, thanks to Loretta.
That was Terry Bolger reporting. Plans have yet to be announced for any type of public memorial service.
Well, around the mountains tonight, it's been a quiet one. We still continue to see plenty of just clear skies out there. It's going to help us get down into the 40s tonight in many spots, but still milder than the past couple of nights. Mid-50s out there right now. From our I-64 camera at Moorhead, all is quiet. Same thing as you'd expect at 5 after 11 from downtown Whitesburg at this hour. Temperatures dropping in some of the rural locations. 48 London Corbin Airport, 48 in Williamsburg, 47 in Irvin. Still 59 though in Jackson, 54 in Moorhead, and we're down to 48 here in Hazard. We'll continue to see those temperatures drop tonight thanks to high pressure that we do have in place. Showers though across Illinois will be slowly working in our direction late tomorrow night into early Friday, but I think most of us do stay dry. For tonight, we definitely stay dry. Just a little bit of patchy fog out there in the river valleys, mid-40s out there with those calm winds. Details coming up on when we could see some warmer weather moving in before some, well, more fall-like weather takes back over. That's in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. An arrest warrant has been issued for a Pulaski County man stemming from an incident in Knott County. Knott County Attorney Tim Bates says Christian Sohnlein of Somerset reportedly obtained $4,000 from a Knott County woman who suffered damage to her home in the July flood. Sohnlein was supposed to perform repair work on the woman's flooded home but didn't do it, and Bates says he subsequently began harassing her on Facebook to obtain even more money. State police in Rowan County need your help finding this man. This is 62-year-old Danny Bolin of West Liberty. He's wanted for sexual abuse. They say the victim was younger than 12 years old. He's facing 7 different counts. Police say if you know where he is, to contact the Moorhead Post at 606-784-4127. In Powell County, a man is facing charges after deputies say he led them on a chase. A deputy tried to pull over Eric Rogers yesterday. He didn't stop. Instead, he tried to get away. Deputies say Rogers hit another vehicle while leading the deputy on a chase. He eventually lost control of his car. Rogers was arrested and is facing a list of charges, including wanton endangerment, drug possession, and other traffic charges. The fundraising numbers are out for the third quarter in Kentucky's governor's race next year, and 1 Democrat and 3 Republicans are ahead of the rest of the pack. It's a crowded Republican field, and Kelly Craft, who was in the race less than a month when reports were due, led by raising about $750,000. She's still behind Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles, who has more than $800,000 in the bank, but he only raised about $300,000 during the summer. Attorney General Daniel Cameron outraised Quarles for the quarter and has a balance of just more than $600,000. Topping all fundraising in the governor's race was Democratic incumbent Andy Beshear, who raised more than $1 million and has more than $4 million in the bank. It could be years before everyone impacted by the July flood is back into permanent housing. Housing Alliance officials based here in Perry County say dozens of homes still need initial work done in many counties here in eastern Kentucky. Some are about ready to move back into homes. Others still have a lot of work to do. The Housing Alliance serves Perry, Breathitt, Knott, and Letcher counties. Officials say the process to get everyone back to normal could take 5 to 7 years.
So there are a few houses that need complete muck outs and then a lot that need just a little bit of extra work. There are people living in tents or people in campers and cars.
Housing Alliance officials say more help and funding is arriving all the time, such as from the Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky, which provided a gift to fund 16 homes to be built in the hardest hit counties. The Millstone community of Letcher County is working to recover after the flood. Residents on McCray Lane were affected so bad that some of them have had to tear down their homes. Fortunately, one couple was able to salvage theirs and repair it. They say it's been amazing to see it all come together.
And my neighborhood family has all come together, help each other, watch out after each other.
McBee says many of his neighbors left right after the flood, but he's been staying in a camper, and many of his neighbors were glad he was there to watch their belongings. The fall season brings beautiful scenery, but it also brings an increase in crashes involving deer. With an increase in deer activity from October to December, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is issuing an antler alert, a campaign that warns drivers of the risks that come with deer-related collisions.
They can do more damage to your vehicle and then potentially more damage to you if if you have a collision as a result of it. That's why we urge wearing the seatbelt. So if you do have to stop suddenly, if there's an impact, you're restrained by that seatbelt.
H.B. Elkins with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet adds that it's important to stay alert when driving during dusk and dawn and to pay attention when driving through an area with deer crossing signs. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, the president wraps up his visit to Florida as many in the state continue to try and recover.
Plus, keeping it sunny even on into the weekend, but will temperatures stay below average? The breakdown on that is coming our way next.
You listen